Hi everyone, I'm Ghost and welcome back to the finale of Road to Hokkaido. It's been a long series. We did well in Weekend League. We got Icon Nakata. We didn't get Icon Moments Nakata, but all of that doesn't matter because in this episode we're going to take a look at all the players who've done well in this series and a sort of overview of the whole thing. And yeah, so I've given awards to many different players, and yeah, we'll see which player won them in my opinion. Well, some of them in my opinion, some of them you voted for. And yeah, but first let's take a final look at the team. Recently got a new inform in Yuya Osako. Very good card, very good shooting. I didn't make a video on it because I already had this one planned and it's a bit close to yeah, I already had the finale planned, so I didn't want to make another episode before that, but he is a very good card. I recommend you go and try it out. But yeah, it's been a good series. Some of the memorable moments include, of course, not getting prime moments Nakata, yeah, which wasn't good, and also the Weekend League run, which was great. I recommend you watch that video because that's probably the best one of the series. But yeah, straight into awards. And first of all, we have the award for the Fan Player of the Season. Didn't do this award last year because I didn't think enough people voted on it, but plenty of people voted on it this year. And of course, this more people voted since then. But when I had a look at the poll last, Nakajima, Shoya Nakajima won by absolutely miles, and yeah, I think this is very deserved. He's one of the best players that I've used this year. He's been a great legend for the team. He was there since the first episode of Road to Hokkaido, and yeah, he's just been so good, and he's still one of the best players of the team, which doesn't make sense. One of the best players of the team arrived in September, and hopefully we can get something similar to that this year. But yeah, some of his, of course, guess I'm showing some of his best goals and moments right now. Yeah, such a good player. Not quite as good as Inui last year, but then Inui wasn't around for very long, so yeah, but yeah, very, very good. And yeah, I expect him to do even better this season. Now he's playing for Porto, and yeah, so that's that award. So next up we have the top goal scorer, and of course the top goal scorer in FIFA 18 was Yu Kobayashi. That team of the season Kobayashi was so good, such a good card. Before then he had his inform, and then his silver card was pretty good as well, and yeah, so basically very good card that was. And yeah, we didn't really have the striking options as much this year. Last year we had Kobayashi, well I mean that was sort of it for strikers. We also had Suzuki late on, but Kobayashi was a very good option, and this year we got Masashi Suzuki the silver very early on, who was very useful in Weekend League, and early on I was fine with my strikers, but as soon as we started getting later on to the year, the strikers didn't become very good. So that said, the winner of the top scorer award is Yu Kobayashi, because he was my only gold striker for most of the year. Of course we also used Kanazaki, Minamino, but Kobayashi, I mean, he has something special about him that makes him score like crazy goals, and yeah, some of his goals are just so good. And yeah, he has been replaced finally by Yuya Osako now, and Yuya Osako is very, very good indeed. But yeah, Kobayashi winning it 2 years in a row, not really surprising. And yeah, so yeah, let's move on to the next award, most assists. So just a quick sort of heads up, you can't win, a single player can't win 2 awards, so this most assist award would go to Kobayashi and then it would go to Nakajima, but since they've both won an award, I don't want to give one player 2 awards because I haven't got that many awards to give out and I kind of want variety. So saying that, last year Kobayashi did get more assists than Okazaki, but I gave Okazaki the award because I didn't want Kobayashi winning too many. Okazaki last year was a very good playmaker, didn't score that many goals, but he certainly did make many assists. Up front, oh yeah, he was the other good striker that I was struggling to think of. But yeah, so this year we did, apart from Kobayashi and Nakajima, not too many people made that many assists, apart from Masashi Suzuki. I talked about him earlier, and yes, he was so good in that Weekend League run and subsequent silver things. He was in the team with Kobayashi 2 up front at the time. I haven't played with him that much later on, but he was just so good, and really good at holding up the play and passing it to Kobayashi, when Kobayashi would just smash it into the top corner. And it looks like he's been doing well in real life, so we could well see an inform or 2 for him next year, which would be really good. His card wasn't really that good at shooting, to be honest, but it was definitely useful to help out Kobayashi up front, because my teams use strikers a lot to make assists. And next, can't remember the order, so I might switch it around. We have the best card, and for me this was very tricky because it would have gone to Nakajima, of course, but he's already run a reward, so it had to be a bit of a close decision, and I almost chose that Tomiyasu 74 rated card, but for me Hidetoshi Nakata is just a little bit better. Of course, sorry, forgot to mention last year's card. That would have been the 90 Inui, which was just so good, really good, like a amazing version of Nakajima from this year. Nakajima from this year is nowhere near as good as that Inui card, but Nakata is the best card in the team. I just don't use him well. In the team, he just does like seem to disappear, but when he is on the ball, you know he can absolutely win you games. His shooting is so good, his passing is amazing, his pace is really good, and he can win the ball back well. It's just his positioning always seems to be really off. He always seems to be like absolutely nowhere when you need him. You just can't find him, and that's why he didn't play that many games. So next up we have the most improved. Now last year this one was very obvious. We had Kazuki Honda. The FUT birthday card for him was a huge improvement. Before we had his right wing card, he had slow pace, he wasn't very good at shooting, he's had a bad touch, but when he moved centrally he could just absolutely shoot long shots for absolutely miles away from the goal. And this year it was much trickier because we didn't play with many players that got informed later on in the game, but there was a certain goalkeeper who did not seem very good at the start of the game, and he wasn't very good last year, and that is Masaki Higashiguchi, and he was broken at the start of the year. He could not save anything. In FIFA 18 he was like this as well. Basically he would like parry it and save it, but then it would still go into his own net, and he was just broken. I didn't use him in Road to Hokkaido, but I remember using him in like some training match, and he was still broken, just to check if he was still broken, and he still was. So we were using Nakamura for a while, but then I decided, why don't I use Higashiguchi again, and he was fixed. For some reason he just started not making stupid mistakes, and it was absolutely brilliant. He's the best. He's much better than Nakamura, best goalkeeper I've used at all, and he saved me so many games late on in this run through of FIFA. And to finish the awards, we have my favourite player of the year, and this is not someone who was particularly good. Maybe they didn't have a particularly good card, but they were underrated, and I just really enjoyed playing with them. Last year, of course, it was Junior Ito. He was just so fast and so pacey this year. Not quite as good this year, and plus he fell out of the team quite early on, but he was in the team for a long time last year. Yeah, Junior Ito last year was just absolutely amazing, and someone else who was just as amazing this year, who I only started using later on, is Ryota Oshima. Now, at the start I used Hasebe. He was a bit slow, he would quite often be a liability in the central defensive mid spot, and then I started using two central defensive mids, Hasebe and Oshima, and Oshima would just help so much. He's just so fast in game that he's just able to like run into people. He has like no defending, he has 64 defending I think, which is like really bad for a defensive midfielder, but he's just so quick, he can just run into people. You can't take the ball off him in midfield. He's so good at switching the play and bringing the ball forward, and for a 70 rated player he would sometimes be one of the best players in the team. Definitely the best silver card I reckon, apart from maybe Tomiyasu, but he's definitely one of my favourite cards to play with. And of course Yamaguchi is better than him now, and he has replaced him, but I still bring him on in left back, and he's still so good. Yeah, he's when Hasebe moved back to centre back, he would be like that anchor of the team. He defended the team and probably won us multiple games with both his passing skills and his ability to win back the ball in tough situations. Hopefully you've really enjoyed this series. Of course it'll be coming back next year, just because I really want to do it again, as well as some other FIFA stuff. I decided not to do a series, but I will make different FIFA videos. I'll have some very good ideas, so hopefully they'll do well. But yeah, Road to Hokkaido is not going anywhere this year, and yeah, and some other stuff that will be arriving as well, which I'm not going to talk about because I haven't really decided it yet. But yeah, make sure to leave comments. Have you really enjoyed this series? I hope you have. And yeah, who's your favourite player? Who would you give all these awards to? And yeah,